Good morning, insurance agents of the senior market. Welcome back to Near and Far, live on location here, shooting outside today, just to get a little bit of flavor, a little different feel. It is Tuesday, November 24th, and if you're catching us right as the notification hit your phone, it's 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that wanted to kind of get into just like right away, last week we had talked about a question off of insurance forums, off of the senior market forum, and there was another one that I saw today. So maybe this is our insurance forums question of the day segment. We'll see how this plays out if we keep doing this. But one of the agents had talked about MA only plans.
Right.
And we had spent some time talking about MA only plans like a little bit earlier in the year, specifically with United and Aetna really making a big push into that regard, like maybe trying to capitalize on the veterans market. But just kind of overall, like, what are your thoughts on MA only plans? Do agents really need to pay attention to them, or is it just kind of white noise?
Well, since everybody's got one, it's one of the new things. Everyone has one, and there's a reason that they're interested in investing in those types of plans. So it does make sense for people to take note of them, know that they exist, and know how they work, because you might have somebody who has alternate coverage through an employer, or like you said, veterans is a good example as well. Really, that they don't need that particular drug benefit, but they can get a ton more benefit out of it and have additional benefits that might not be accessible through what they have already.
Yeah, one of the things, like if you dial the clock back 5 years, when I used to get this question from agents or agencies about MA only plans, the answer was almost invariably, yeah, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was because when we looked at like the line items on the MA only plans, they were so much worse than comparable MAPDs at the same premium. Because, and maybe a lot of our agents don't know this. So if you have a consumer who has other prescription drug coverage, be it through the VA, maybe they got a retiree drug benefit, something like that. If they get an MAPD plan, it's okay. Like you can kind of mix and match. Like it's just fine. Like specifically with veterans, the VA drug benefit and the MAPD benefit, they run parallel, so they're not going to impact each other. So, we used to just look at it and say, well, yeah, I mean, yes, you don't need the drug benefit, but you may be getting better medical benefits by going with the MAPD. But one of the things I think we've seen, like maybe in the last 2 to 3 years, like Humana really kind of started it, and you see United and Aetna jumping in. The MA only plan benefits, I think there's a lot to talk about now.
Yeah, they've really built on them. I mean, looking at like OTC benefits or like some transportation, some of the things that they've added in to make them more, make them more intriguing to somebody who's already getting coverage, across another plan.
Yeah, I mean, they're much more robust. I mean, I can remember seeing like maybe 4 to 5 years ago, a particular carrier, which I will not name, who had an MA only plan, and it had worse medical benefits, like in terms of line items, PCP, inpatient hospital, whatever, at like a $35 premium than the zero premium MAPD in the very same county. So it's like, what are we even talking about here? And the other thing, and I know that I've talked to agents about this before, I don't know if you've talked to your agents about it, but maybe the VA is like 40 miles from you.
Right.
And you need like a, you need a, generic tier 1 prescription. Do you want to roll out to like the VA hospital, or do you just want to go to like Walgreens or CVS or Giant Eagle or whatever your grocery store is, Publix if you're down in Florida? I love Publix, by the way. They have great grab and go food if you're ever down south. But no, seriously, like, do you just want to go there and get your like tier 1 for like $0?
Right.
Or do you want to drive, or maybe it's $4?
Right.
Like, do you want to drive 40 miles to VA? Like, that's something I think about too.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a big difference in that, you're going to see, who you can go see instead of going down, scheduling an appointment at the VA clinic, just going to see Dr. Jim on the corner and going and filling up your drug prescription at Giant Eagle for $2.
Yeah, for sure.
Walmart or one of those carriers. So.
Yeah, so I think the takeaway is on that question, like MA only plans are they worth it? The answer is they may be, and I think that any agent who's working in the senior market, especially now with the proliferation of more of those choices being available, I think you got to take a look. Like, you got to know what's out there, know what's available. So Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yes.
Obviously, 2 days from now, it's Tuesday morning. One of the things I was thinking about is traditionally we see during AEP a real big slowdown. I don't want to say shutdown, but a severe slow to the enrollment numbers that are happening. Tougher for agents to get appointments, all those things. But you've got a lot of state governments that are saying to their residents, hey, please don't travel. Like, I know you want to see like Uncle Jimmy and Aunt Gladys, and you want to see Grandma or Cousin Betty or whoever, but hey, may not be a good idea this time of year. Like we hear a lot of people say that. Our governor here in Pennsylvania is saying the same thing. That being said, do you think that if less people are traveling, is there more of an opportunity for our agents to write business this time of year? Like, is it easier to get an appointment because people aren't moving around? I
mean, it definitely makes sense. It's pretty common for someone to go, maybe I have relatives, like I have a lot of family in Ohio, maybe to go, a day or two before Thanksgiving, stay, do all that, and without that type of thing happening, I mean, plus you have people preparing meals for smaller groups, so you might not have that 3-day run-up of, okay, I got to get pies done on Monday, I'm starting to work on different, all kinds of different things leading up to the big day. I mean, if it's a lot slower on that aspect, it provides a little bit more opportunity with people staying home too. This might be think about like Black Friday, following that, following.
Oh, I love where you're going. I love what you're.
There's not really there's not going to be people out. I mean, there probably shouldn't be people standing out in lines all night, from Thursday to Friday. So why not set up an appointment for your, your Medicare?
So talking about pies on Monday and all that, I gotta hit you real quick, and we are gonna have an episode on Thanksgiving morning. I don't want to give it away. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but hit me with let's say you're at a normal Thanksgiving dinner where you got all these people, everybody made all this crazy stuff. There's a host of pies. You only get one. Like, let's say there's like a pie dictator who's like, you shall only have one piece.
Everyone gets one piece.
Everyone one piece. What's your one? What are you hitting?
If I could hit like a serious apple pie, homemade, full cinnamon, something like that. And no, sorry, I'm not going to put a piece of American cheese on it. I'll put
American cheese?
Oh yes.
Is that a thing?
It is. Yes.
Oh my! I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a very. I think it's a Philadelphia thing actually. To put a slice of American cheese on your pie.
Yeah, why? If you said Philadelphia, I would think you'd talk Philadelphia cream cheese. But, all right, for me,
no, like a Kraft single. We're talking.
Okay, we're talking like straight out of the plastic. Like,
yeah.
Okay. For me, I have an aunt who makes pecan pie. And I love it. Like, and I love pumpkin. And usually I'm a 3 small slivers. Like, give me a small apple, a small pumpkin, and then, okay, it's kind of a larger pecan piece, but if I had to go just one, it would be pecan for sure. All right, so I liked where you're heading talking about Black Friday. So obviously we've got our monthly features. Like, we have Near and Far that's kind of going every week.
Yeah.
And then we have these other video productions that we're doing, once a month. And Senior Moment, which you're involved in, which is a great show. Like, if you have not watched Senior Moment, it's tremendous. And it really is supposed to be fun. Yeah. Like, so much of the stuff we're dealing with, not just with our normal insurance business, but, trying to do insurance during COVID kind of can be like dark cloud with some of this stuff. But Senior Moment is supposed to be a really fun, light look at subjects that are kind of present for us in the senior market. So the second episode is dropped. It's ready for our agents. Why don't you talk about being on Senior Moment and the new AppsGiving episode?
Oh, absolutely. So, no pun intended on absolutely.
No pun intended on AppsGiving.
But really the goal with Senior Moment is to get some information out there and not be death by PowerPoint. Have a little bit more fun, a little bit more to it. I don't want to give too much away because I know we want to get the launch, but really just wanted to look at a lot of the different things that surround Thanksgiving and blend into AEP. So that's really where our head's at right now.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give a couple little teasers.
Okay.
So you guys are at one of the scenes. You guys are having an AppsGiving meal.
Yes.
And when we're saying AppsGiving, just so this is coming through on the audio, we're talking about APPS, AppsGiving. Here, I'm doing the magic for Ryan right here. I want AppsGiving, just so they know what word we're saying. But you guys are doing an AppsGiving meal. And then you've got a cooking section with Christine, which was hilarious.
Oh yeah,
like she absolutely killed that. But I don't know about you, about your favorite piece of that episode, but I think mine may have been Beth and App Friday shopping.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a really good spot.
Yeah. Hey, do we want to show them? Maybe show them a clip?
I think we can.
Okay, Ryan, can we do that? Is that in our power to do? Do I have to do a magic thing? No. Okay. All right. So Ryan's going to give you a clip from our most recent episode of Senior Moment, the AppsGiving episode. Let's roll with it.
Let me in.
I want apps.
I want to shop now.
Are you open yet? I need in.
As I've described before, we are socially distancing this year. You will stand 6 feet apart, and I will let you in one at a time for 30 seconds. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let me in.
Okay, shopper, are you ready? You have 30 seconds to take that cart. Fill it up with whatever you can in the store and bring it back here and I will check you out. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go!
New plan.
See what you have here. You have some Humanas, you have some UHC, you have some Aetna. Wait a minute, it's coming up as 0. How could that be? Wait, are you a Neishloss and Fleming agent?
Well, duh.
Oh, well, they get everything for free, so you're lucky. All apps and swag are free today.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, that's the plan I wanted.
I hate App Friday.
That was tremendous. That was so good. Bethany brings such a great element to the show, but like just her racing around and doing that shopping, it's tremendous. So make sure to check out, after you're done watching Near and Far today, why don't you go back to the Neishloss and Fleming YouTube channel. If you're subscribed, you would have already got the notification. So if you want to subscribe, here I'm going to do some more magic. Ready? There's the subscribe button. You can go ahead and hit that. But if you were subscribed, you would have got the notification. Otherwise, go check out the video section and check that out. All right, so last thing I want to just kind of jump into. I think I may have been, when I was on with Josh or Chris a couple weeks ago, we were talking about consumers making choices during AEP.
Right.
And whether or not they're choosing plans differently this year because of COVID. And we kind of had back and forth over a couple different things. At this point in the AEP, like we're not quite to the home stretch. Like I usually think like once you're like to the Monday after Thanksgiving, that's usually the home stretch for AEP. What are you hearing from your agents about consumers and decision making and whether or not they're choosing plans differently this year than maybe they would have the last couple?
Well, and I bring this up because I've talked to a lot of people about this. I know we've had conversations inside the office on, what we see people picking. Do we see people running the Medicare supplement because, maybe COVID becomes a pre-existing condition and they won't be able to get on a sup later? Yeah. When it comes to that, have not really seen that. Haven't seen a lot of people that are willing to run. Where we've seen a lot more, I feel like I've heard a lot more anecdotally and seen through some of the numbers coming through, is people who are willing to do a little bit more of a buy-up. Maybe they're on a $0 MAPD, and they are going to jump to one of those mid-range tiers. Maybe they're on a mid-range tier and they're going to go to a more robust plan, just to have that, that what if, but not really extend themselves so far that they're,
going all the way to a sub.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because I keep flipping this in my mind, and that's why I like having these conversations, and talking to agents about them, just because I'm intrigued. Because if you think about it in a vacuum, okay, almost all, I don't want to say all MA plans, but most of them, when a lot of this COVID stuff started rolling through, the insurance companies were saying, hey, if you go to the doctor because of COVID, waiving the copay.
Right.
If you're in the hospital because of COVID, waiving the copay. Like telemedicine, like, all of this push towards COVID-related expenses, no copay.
Right.
So if you think about it that way, like if you're like, let's say we're having a sales appointment, okay, and you're my agent and I'm the client, and I'm telling you, I'm concerned, I want more robust coverage. What should I do? Like, I guess in a vacuum, I would think, because it's not like the agent earns a higher commission on a $35 or a $50 plan than the zero, but you would almost think that the agent would say, hey, listen, it's all good. Like, you don't need to move off of that zero premium, because it's not, if it's because of COVID, you're not going to have any increased cost here anyway. You're actually going to pay less now than you would have 2 years ago for that stuff. That's just what I wonder about. Like, are agents saying that, or is it just the consumer expresses, I want more robust coverage, and the agent's like, okay, cool, like checkbox. Yeah, I just wonder that.
Yeah, I mean, it could probably fall on either of those sides. Like you said, in the vacuum, it seems like, oh, COVID is this big, very scary, pandemic going around, and would want to have a bit more coverage on it. But yeah, like you said, every carrier out there has released, something that says, hey, we're going to waive any fee that has, for testing and hospitalization and doctor's appointments. So, it creates an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting. Like, you talk about testing. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, who his impression on testing was, it's so difficult. Like, it's this big, huge thing. And, recently, my son had a potential exposure. It was very remote, but we decided to take him to get a test anyway. And I contacted a person that I know, and they said, oh yeah, we've had a bunch of people who've had to go get tests. They recommended that rapid test, and they said, call this place. So literally, and it's obviously not this way everywhere, but I was kind of surprised because it was the first experience I had with myself or someone in my family needing one. Called the place. They said, go to our website. Went on the website at like 9 o'clock, filled out the thing, hit return. I had an email like an hour later, said, hey, come here at 2:30, stay in your car. I'm like, stay in the car? Like, okay. And literally there was someone walking around. It almost looked like, I guess we're in a pandemic, but it looked like one of those like global pandemic movies where everybody's walking around in a hazard suit. Right. They just walked around, like swabbed my son's nose, like both nostrils a couple times. And they said, yeah, call us in an hour.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that the testing that was available 6 months ago is totally different from now.
Right.
So, at least that's the thing. And so, like, for our agents out there, please just keep in mind, like, if you think that you potentially had an exposure, go get a test. Like, I know that there used to be horror stories out there about like, I felt like they were stabbing my brain with a thing. But like, just be safe, because just remember, if you're sick,
you can't sell.
You can't sell. So, hey, thanks for joining. So what did you think about the outdoor shoot today?
It was great. Could have done with a little bit more sunlight, but hey, we'll take what we can get.
Well, yeah, but if we had more sun, Ryan would have been like, oh no, what are we doing about the lighting? Like, because I even brought a tent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Ryan was like, no, we're good.
And, I'll definitely take this over the snow that we're going to get this year, I'm pretty sure. So
wouldn't that be something? We should do a snow episode.
Yeah.
Like, we could be in like parkas and like ski suits.
It'd be perfect.
I think what we should do is that we should reach out to the home office for Integrity Marketing Group in Dallas and see if we can get like logoed snow suits to be able to shoot the episode out in the snow. So, well, hey guys, really appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you so much for your business. We appreciate the trust that you placed in us. We're going to have a special Thanksgiving episode for you on Thursday, November 26th at 7 a.m. This is Rob Turnbull. I'm Bill Correa, and this has been Near and Far. Thanks a bunch. Be safe.